Hello and welcome to another episode of Scavenger Life. This is episode number 288 at scavengerlife.com.
Normally when we record this podcast, it's Sunday, kind of late a morning.
Or Saturday even.
Yeah, or Saturday, and we're doing it in a very relaxed way with like a cup of coffee. Tonight's a little different. So it's kind of late on a Sunday, and we've had a very long day. We got up at 5 o'clock to meet with some plumbers, and we totally replumbed this house that we're renovating.
I mean, when we say we just watched them do it.
I didn't do it. The plumbers did it.
You actually helped them a lot.
But
you actually helped them a lot.
Yeah, it involved, breaking through the foundation of the house and pouring concrete, and it was a big deal.
Yeah.
But anyway, we wanted to get this done because we want to talk about our week on eBay.
Yeah, it would be sad if we didn't do it.
But I do want to bring up it because I think it is an interesting point. This is what eBay allows us, though. Like, we didn't do any eBay today, but we made $300.
Right.
I mean, like, that's what we talk about when we talk about the pipeline,
Yep.
All that work we've done in the past can pay off on a day like today and let us spend the day doing other things, working on these other projects.
Yep.
And it's good.
Yeah.
I love it.
Oh, and we've been filling the pipeline. That's not in question.
And we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
So, I wanted to start off to talk about the war of attrition.
Okay. That sounds fascinating.
Did you ever heard of that word before, Ryan?
So, from you, probably.
So, those of you that don't know this word, if you're into fighting and wars and stuff, it's a common term. So
okay, are you into fighting?
Wars, like people who are into like those World War II historical
Which every time I walk into the house, all I hear about is Hitler, because that's what you're watching.
I've been watching that stuff lately.
I'm like, it's Hitler again.
People, let's be careful of Hitler. All right. So in World War II, it was a big thing. Like, one of the reasons why the Allies beat Germany was mainly because they just had more people and more stuff. Tanks. And so the war of attrition is just...
tanks, better
just
tanks.
The way you win is just throw more stuff at it. And that's how you win. You grind down the other person. What does this have to do with eBay? Well, this week we had a really good conversation on the forum about selling clothes. We talk about that from time to time. And actually, it was Amazing Taste popped into the forums and was like, admitted that her sales are not as strong as they have been because she can feel that there's much more competition even over a year ago.
Right.
And so, and we notice it too. We've been kind of getting back into clothes just because we thought it was fun. Yeah. And we're not selling the amount of clothes as we did when we were selling clothes hardcore 5 years ago. Yeah. And some other people popped in on that too.
It's interesting because like we always use, there's a couple of sellers, and Amazing Taste is one of them, as like the high benchmark of like, if you're a clothes seller, this is like the person to,
It's her and her husband. They do it full time. Yeah. They have like thousands of items. Yeah. They make $3,000 to $5,000 a week.
A week, people.
Selling mainly clothes, and they do a really good job, and they're really smart about how they do it.
They're just super professional.
But, she was saying it's worried. And so we talked about, there's, I think, a couple of reasons for it. Number one is, I think to sell online is becoming, it's more popular. Not only on eBay, but just everywhere.
Etsy, Poshmark.
There's, Truegather. There's just like all these. Yeah.
And it's all because of the phone. It's all because of the smartphones.
People are selling clothes on Craigslist and stuff.
Yeah. It's just like.
I think clothes are kind of the gateway drug. Sure. So when people think, oh, I should sell things online. Yeah. It's often a woman. Yeah. And I think clothes are the first thing a woman sometimes goes to because...
Clothes, accessories, shoes.
Right. Because it's what she may know, and Number two, it's the easiest thing to get your hands on.
Because you already have so much of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's just it's much of it at home, and also because you go to any Goodwill.
And it's packed.
And it's all
full
clothes.
Of clothes, yeah.
There's some housewares, but it's mainly clothes.
We went to a Goodwill, it was yesterday. And there were so many clothes there. I was like, do they even have a housewares section at this Goodwill? Like, we couldn't even find it. We had to, like, search high and low for the housewares section.
And then I think the third big thing that has really happened are the weigh-in pays.
The weigh-in
pays. Or like
pays.
the Goodwill outlets where you go, you just like put stuff into your cart and then they weigh it. And this really started, I think, about 4 years ago. We went to our first one in Denver.
Yeah.
We'd never heard of it. It was crazy.
Because they weren't everywhere then.
And then it's only in the past several years that they're now everywhere. And now that there's the ability for the normal person to buy clothes wholesale. Mm-hmm. Whereas before, you had to be kind of like a vintage thrift shop owner, and you would go to auctions. And
you'd buy a pallet of, old clothes.
Pallets and pallets of clothes, and you'd have a warehouse. And
this is literally the exact same thing for anybody.
Right. And so I think that's really what's changed. And, Amazing Taste even admitted, like, she may rethink the way they're doing things. It sounds like they're still doing very well, but she says she has to sell more because she's having to fight on prices. And so it's when I say the war of attrition, I think this may start happening is just at some point there is going to be so much of a glut that it's going to burn many people out.
Because, like the casual sellers.
Well, I mean, if everyone's racing to the bottom, and we see it, I mean, I'll be like, how are these people selling this for $3?
Free shipping.
Or $5 or $6, I mean, how do you make a living selling anything under $15? Or 20 or 30?
Right.
I mean,
unless you're selling just massive volumes.
But how do you keep that volume? I mean, it just doesn't seem sustainable. So I think at some point, if those of us hearing this stick it out, there's going to be a big burnout where what might have been fun or interesting is just no longer interesting.
It's like you can see on the graph there's like, a peak at like 2017, and then it's just like of sellers, casual sellers.
I mean, we know a local person in our area that sells online on eBay. And we follow their store. And they do this where they sell a lot. I'd say 80% of it is under $15 and sometimes often under $10. And I just don't know how they can keep it up because
like we see their stuff and we're just like, how are they making anything? I mean, making anything. Like, not even breaking even. How are they not losing money?
Because they, especially people that have a lot of volume, are either really motivated and full time, or they hire people. And the people we know, they hire people to help them. And I don't know how they can pay their cost and make a lot, and it's make a living. So we will see, this long war of attrition. Like Amazing Taste thinks it's going to get worse before it gets better. But
it'll be a little bit painful.
Those of us that have been selling full time for a while now, we've seen ups and downs, and we'll see.
And also, like for us in particular, I mean, we have a big variety of items. We have a lot of clothing right now, a lot of clothing, because a lot of those were death piles. Clothing and accessories were massive death piles. But we also are super diverse.
But I mean, I think the good news is simply that there are more people buying online, and I think on eBay
because of the phone also.
So I think that's a good thing. There are more people coming to sell, but there's also more people coming to buy. I think the main thing for us is just making sure we personally have a sustainable business. If clothes aren't, like we couldn't survive just on our clothing sales. So we just have to make sure we have other kinds of sales too.
Diversifying.
I do want to do a bit of an update. We talked about how we poured that concrete slab
Yeah.
behind our house because we're going to build a storage building.
Right.
And the idea was we were just going to buy like a metal building.
Prefab metal
online,
building.
$8,000.
Put it on a credit card.
They put it together in like a day and it's done. And that was the idea. But we built this really nice concrete slab.
I mean, the slab is like so beautiful that I want it as a floor in a building. Like, it's shiny. It's
polished.
Gorgeous. I'm like, I can't build a crappy building on this thing.
And everyone who is around us, like neighbors, the guy that poured the concrete,
the inspector,
this other guy we know, they're like, you should just build a stick frame building.
Like
and
a proper building.
Even there are scavengers on a forum like, yeah, go for it.
Like,
and
why are you going to buy this crappy building?
So we've been actually getting quotes from carpenters and from contractors just to see how much it would cost. It's basically, here's the deal. If it's a one-story, it'd be about 3 times as much. It costs about $25,000 for a one-story, 40 by 24.
40 by 24, yeah.
Building with a roof and, like really nice.
Yeah.
It's basically like a little house.
I mean, so here's the deal real quick. I just want to say this. Because you're like, 8,000, it's done in a day. You put it on a credit card. Or a one-story building that's 30,000. You're like, how are you so crazy? But the beautiful thing about a stick frame building is it's such better quality. It lasts as long as a house. Those metal buildings just aren't going to last. So.
And then we go a little bit step further.
Because we are obnoxious.
Our office that we have is a 2-story building, and we were like, well, what if we just built another 2-story building? Because, if we're going to put the money in to do a 1-story, go 2 stories.
Why don't we have double the storage?
And have basically a lifetime inventory building. And that would cost us, like $40,000 or $50,000. But imagine if we had a building that big, 2-story. I mean, it would hold everything we have now, plenty of room to grow. It would be like the one-time investment.
So here's the thing. When I was talking to this inspector guy, he does rentals too. So I'm asking them questions. I'm like, what if I do a stick-built building? I'm like, what do I have to do to change my permit? It's not a big deal. And I said, what if I go up 2 stories? And he's like, I get it. Like if you run a rental or do whatever kind of business you guys do, you need storage. I'm like, I don't have a basement. I don't have an attic. I don't have anything. So I need to have it. If I'm building this building, I need to go up.
Well, so that's kind of where we're at right now. And it's a good problem to have. And we aren't in a big rush. We've lived it with the kind of storage we have now. So I think we're going to sit out the winter time and wait till the spring and just determine if we really want to. I mean, it's a big deal. It's a pretty big leap to say we're going to invest $50,000 basically in our eBay business.
Ooh, it's so much money.
But I mean, the good thing is that we know we would use it, and we know that it would add value to our home and our property.
Yes.
I mean, who would not want a 2-story storage building that it could become a house?
It actually, the crazy thing is it could become a house because it's actually on another lot that we own technically. So if someone were crazy enough, they could be like, split it down, this property line and sell it.
So that's what we're thinking, and so that's the dilemma.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about eBay, specifically our eBay week. We had probably one of the best weeks we've had in a long time.
Yes. I was very, very cranky during this week because I was thinking our week was not that great, but it was.
It was good. And it sounded like on the forum other people were having a good week too.
Good.
It's the holidays. People are buying.
Are shopping.
I mean, it started off like his last podcast we were talking about how sales seemed to be really sluggish. I mean, the very next day, a Sunday.
Yes.
I mean, we sold 18 items in one day for about $600.
I mean, there are weeks when we just sell 18 items in a week. No?
Yeah, I mean, close.
Slow weeks.
Slow weeks. But, I mean, that was great. And the nice thing, too, is we were selling higher-priced items.
Yes.
It's so different when our average price is more like $40 than it is like $20, you know?
Yeah, it's double.
Yeah. Like one great sale we had were these 12 little bowls.
Okay, so
that I thought I was going to just eat cereal out of.
look, we bought these bowls, right? And we didn't really look at the bottom very much, and we were like, "Oh, these are cool. They're a cool color." It was $10 for 12. We're like, nice. And then I looked at the bottom, and I actually used the resource of the forum to figure out what the maker's mark was, because it did say Limoges, but it just had a symbol.
It was Mike, right?
Yeah, Mike in Atlanta actually helped me. He, within like 10 minutes, he's like, "It's this symbol." I'm like, "You people are amazing." So it was a rayond. Is that what it's called? I forget, but it's Limoges, so it's fancy. So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna put up 2 sets of 6, and I'm gonna put them up for like $179 because this is actually a really high-end brand. So someone bought 6, and I had accidentally forgotten to put quantity 2. And you're like, "Oh, you should write them and tell them there's another set." And I'm like, "Oh my God, it's not even listed." So I wrote them, and I was like, "I actually have another set of these completely matching." And they're like,
And
"Yes,
you
I
bought
want
those
them."
sets, yeah.
Yes. So it was make offer $125 times 2, $250.
And that's a good example of that was kind of a rare scavenging trip that we've done. It recently where we found them. And we put them up, and they sold. It's within
a week.
A week, and so that is something we also talked about last week. Is that if we want better sales, we need to put more time into scavenging
For higher quality items.
And that's a good
that
example.
sell faster, that sell for more.
So something that you guys, going back to kind of like not scavenging, but
Right.
a listing.
Yeah.
Is you and our assistant or our helper.
Yeah.
We're doing ties all week.
Yeah, it took us all week to do ties. That's how many ties we had.
And just so it's clear, this is a huge Rubbermaid tub of ties. They were like death piles of snakes, and that has been almost the anchor of our death pile. I
mean, that bin has been years of gathering ties.
Yeah. Because everyone knows they're so cheap, they're so easy to find.
And the thing is, when you find like cool mid-century vintage ones, like it's hard not to buy them. And when you find actual designer silk ones, like designer, like high-end designer, you're just like, I gotta get these. She actually worked 3 days last week, so it was only 3 days. It was 12 hours, and she got through all. There's like 8 left. But the awesome thing is, ties were selling. As we were listing them, ties were selling.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't sold a whole lot, but we've already sold enough ties
to pay for her time.
To pay for her time. And then the idea is we've already paid her with what she's listed, but then she's helped us fill in our pipeline.
Right.
And that these will eventually sell down the line. So it's almost like when you're hiring someone to help you list, you're investing in your future.
Right, exactly.
So that's, was really great.
Yeah, that was good.
But the other thing is the purpose of listing these things, these ties, or any pile that you've been putting off, is important for us. Like, I guess if we were smarter people, we would just say, "I'll just get rid of it. Let's just focus on other things." But I think we need to physically go through the process of putting them up and seeing what sells and what doesn't sell, so that the next time we're at a thrift store and we see a bunch of ties that are being given away, we're like, "Nope, I don't want it." Like,
look, because you see with that volume, you see the research, because you're like, this is a designer. Does this sell for a lot? Yes, no. And then, so when we were at Goodwill yesterday, I looked at the ties, and instead of looking at the front, like, oh, this is a neat pattern. No, you don't look at the front. You look at the back to see what the brand is. It doesn't matter what the front looks like. It's the brand. Is it Ferragamo? Is it, name a million things. I don't know. Like, is it whatever designer tie that sells for $100 each?
So do you feel better now about being able to eyeball ties?
Yes, I think so.
Cool.
You know,
Yeah. But, I mean, I guess my point is one exercise of these death piles, as it can be painful going through them, is that it gives us concrete experience, Just looking at sold items on my phone doesn't.
Right.
I've got to touch them. I've got to see them.
Yeah.
I've got to do the research. I got to see what sells.
There was something that we did like a death pile of that I was like, I'm never buying those again. It was ties.
Yeah.
It was belts.
Now, so that being said, it sounds like it's not that you'll never buy a tie.
I'll just buy
again.
better ones.
You just now. I mean, you now have hours of experience.
Yeah.
Like, you probably know more than 90% of people on the planet Earth about ties.
Yeah.
Because, it's most people don't know anything.
Yeah.
Small segment. And so you'll know what ties to
Right.
hit.
That's why yesterday I looked through all the ties. I flipped them over. And I was like, none. Yeah. None of them. Don't even bother.
So let's talk about our numbers this week. Okay. In our main store, we sold 54 items.
Yay.
For about $2,100.
Yay.
Nice,
Yay.
I'm very happy with that.
Yes. So happy.
Although it does amaze me when I hear some of the people say they make $3,000 or $4,000 a week. I'm like, man, that is incredible.
Talk about packing being annoying. We always joke that if packing is annoying, that's good because that means you made money. But selling 120 things a week, I'd be like,
We actually sold another item on Truegether.
And you know what's so awesome about this sale? It was over $100. And even better about this sale, it was a group of like old silent films and cartoons, like these little like 8mm things that I think you could buy like back in the 50s and 60s, like to play on your own little projectors. But there were a couple people on eBay. I had them up for like $120 best offer. And a couple people have been like, these aren't worth that. These are junky. Like, you can buy these from people for like $5. And I countered and I just ignored them, whatever. And then someone bought them basically full price on Truegether.
Yeah. And it's just it's one of those sites like Bonanza where they just suck in all your eBay listings.
Although Truegether, I think, doesn't take any fees. They're basically like an online Craigslist. It's very confusing.
Yeah, we've said that.
I'm just like, I don't get it.
I don't understand what their
Why do you exist? But it's great. So that was a nice bonus.
And this time, you actually got an email and I knew that.
Okay, so I was complaining about Truegether because of these things, but I got an email that was like, I wonder if they heard, maybe some other people emailed them too. I was like, why don't you email me when I sell something? I just get a PayPal that doesn't say Truegether. It doesn't say anything. I'm like, where did this sell? I actually called PayPal once and I was like, what is this payment for? And they were like, we don't know. And then I checked Truegether and figured it out. So they sent an email. They're like, congratulations, you sold something on Truegether. I was like, oh, that's awesome. And I was having an issue where they're like, oh, everything's free shipping on your site. I'm like, that makes no sense. And actually, I got shipping price for this. So I was like, okay. It seems like they listened to me or listened to people.
I really think a site like that is like one or two guys.
No, I think it is.
Just kind of hacking away in their basement.
No, it is.
Without a real sense of what.
Which is crazy because if the only thing that links people together is a PayPal transaction. I mean, PayPal is a third party that has like buyer and seller protection, so that's good. Maybe that's just what they're betting on. They're like, well, PayPal is the insurance method or something.
Who knows? Okay, our second eBay store, which is kind of like, this is the store that we've had. We have not listed in there in 6 months. I mean,
I listed a couple things over the week.
Okay, but we basically have not been
listing there. Yeah.
And so it's kind of like on autopilot.
Yeah.
And we made $500.
That's a nice autopilot.
Sold 10 items. So, I mean, that's nice. So together, we made about $2,600. Great week.
So good.
I love it.
I love that week.
So in the forum, we learned a couple things, or things that I thought were interesting, was free shipping. This conversation comes up every couple months. Someone pops in and says, like, why don't you ship stuff for free,
Yeah.
And the argument is this: eBay is always pushing us to sell things for free, do free shipping. Amazon, it's all about FBA, free shipping. Everyone loves free shipping. I love it,
As a customer,
And so the argument is,
it.
if you put it on your eBay items, then you'll make more money.
Right.
And I'll put a link on the blog about, my view of free shipping, and that is that it's not really free.
It's not. No.
And people were telling me that there are people that just buy items that is free to ship, even if it's more expensive, which does not make sense to me. Like, if something's $10 plus $2 to ship, they'll buy the thing that's $15 if it's
with free shipping.
Like,
why?
And the argument is that there's so many things to choose from. They purposely put a filter that says free shipping.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing about eBay is there, and with Amazon too. There's the little click box. You're like, and you know what? And I'll tell you why I do it. I don't want to calculate it in my head to what's the cheapest whatever. Even though you can set it to lowest price plus shipping is the top thing. I'm just like, I don't care. What's the price? The end price.
So,
shipping.
I don't know. It's interesting. And the thing that I always ask people is, well, if that's what you think, are you doing it? And what is your numbers? Like, what do the numbers show?
Right.
And are you able to can you ship things for free on your whole store? Because it's easy if you just sell, like, T-shirts, because it's easy.
Yeah.
But what if you're selling,
candlesticks,
it's glasses, pieces of art, ashtrays, whatever, lamps. I mean, are you doing? And so those are the answers I need to hear. I need to get out of it's philosophical, who's right and who's wrong. Give me some concrete evidence that people actually want to buy free shipping on the kind of items that many of us sell, which are the long tail items.
Yeah.
I think anyway, just go read it. I'm tired. Okay, Ryan, what is our coming week going to be like?
I just talked to my helper, and she doesn't know if she can work this week because it's finals, and she's in school right now.
She's in her 20s, so she's in college,
Yeah. So she's getting her second degree, whatever that is called. And so, I don't know. I will probably be listing from folders that have built up over the summertime of stuff that you've taken pictures of.
I will say something about a month ago. We were at Walmart, and I was like, let's buy a whiteboard. And we actually installed a whiteboard in our kitchen, and it's kind of like a to-do list for both of us.
It's great. It's actually, at first, I thought it was going to be really annoying because I hate that whole, like, basically Jay has, like, a mental to-do list that's, like, infinity. Like, it never ends. It's long. It's never...
You know what it is? It's life. Life is
That's
a to-do list.
That's what I'm saying. But actually it's kind of great because we just are like, it's great to erase that thing off the list.
See, and to-do lists are nice because then you don't have to think about it.
Right, you just put it on the list.
Because it's on the list. Yep. I don't have to think about it anymore, and then you'll see it. You'll be like, oh, I can do that now.
Right.
Like, I'm now mentally prepared to do that. Well, I'm very glad that you like the whiteboard. So we will be going to, it's New York in about 10 days. So this week is all about me continuing to try and wrap up kind of stage one of this renovation we're doing on a house. And that is, the roof will be on, the windows will be on, the doors will be on.
Yeah.
And it'll be like airtight and weatherproof, and get the siding on. And
You're
then
very
when
good
we
at
come
that.
back, the plumbing's in, we'll work on the rest of the trades, get the sheetrock on, and get this thing rented.
Let's get it. Let's design that kitchen.
And you know what? I really, when I'm over there and it's like 35 degrees out, and I'm working with these guys digging holes and digging up pipes, I'm like, I cannot wait for this to be over and I can be back on this couch just taking photos.
It's like so much easier.
I'm telling you,
it's just so chill.
I cannot wait. I can't believe people do those jobs 40 hours a week like their lifetime. My hat is off to people that work that hard.
It's amazing. Yep. Like I worked half the day over there doing some like whatever, like stripping a door, paint off a door. You and I were doing that.
I mean, outside in the cold.
Outside, and it was
the driveway.
It's December right now, people. It's almost Christmas. It was freezing outside. And, whatever. And so half the day goes by. Jay drives me home so I can, like, finish up. I have a ton of stuff to pack for eBay. So I'm packing and doing that stuff. And I'm like, I feel lazy because the rest of the half of the day, you're over there in the cold, like, schlepping concrete.
But that's why I love our eBay business, because I don't always have to be fully engaged.
Yeah.
And you are doing it.
Right. You can switch off.
You're running the eBay engine. And this thing's spitting out cash, and it's helping us pay these guys, Okay. Let's answer any questions if anyone wrote anything or called in.
You can always call our voicemail line, and the phone number is 540-407-8486. You have 3 minutes to leave a message.
Hey, Jay and Ryan. This is Bruce from Atlanta, Georgia, and I'm new to eBay. Love the podcast. I've learned a lot. I've looked forward to every Monday to download the newest edition, and I am trying to get a handle on pricing items and would love to hear your input and your thought process on a couple of items. I am currently looking for a portable radio that is made by Ryobi. Now, this is something I can purchase at my local Home Depot for $39.99. In Atlanta here, I would be out the door at $43. Now, I could order it from Home Depot and have it shipped to my door for $45.96. When I look on eBay, I see a number of sold listings that are in the high 30s to low 40s, which pretty much makes sense. It's not a great deal, but you're saving a few bucks. But I also will see listings that sold for $59 to $65. Now, if you can just order it from your local Home Depot and have it delivered to your door for $45.96, I'm not sure why someone would ever pay $65. And I wonder what the value is in listing something that high on a commodity item that doesn't seem to make sense to me. Now, the second example I'd love to hear your input on is actually a hat that you guys listed recently, and I apologize for butchering the name, but I think it's Zildajan. It's a black hat with a gold embroidered logo, and evidently it's a company that makes cymbals for drummers. Now, if this were sitting on my desk tonight, I'd be looking at sold listings, which range anywhere from, there are 7 sold listings. They range from $7.83 to $20.54. And on listed items, there are 18 listed from $9.98 to $26.66. If I go to the Zildajan website, I can actually have it delivered to my house for $18.90. So I understand the hats that are listed somewhere in the $15, $14, $16 range. What I don't kind of get a handle on is prices that are higher than that. And so I'd love to hear your thought process on how you decided to price the hat that you actually listed. I think you have it for like $26. Anyway, love to hear your input and your thought process. Thanks so much for all you guys do. Thanks.
I just want to talk about the Zildjian hat real quick, and this is funny because when you called in and you were like, these Zildjian hats, it seems like there's a bunch of them, And here's the reason why I think I listed my Zildjian hat at like $24 or $29. Because when I was searching for the Zildjian hat, I was searching under used. And I didn't see any of this one. It's black with like gold, like shiny lettering. But then, because I'm just like, well, that's what I'm selling. It's used. I should see what the prices are and the solds and whatever. And I was like, oh, there's none. So this is rare. So I'm going to put the price up. But what I should have been doing is looking at new and used, because there's a crap load of them that are new for like $13, the exact same one. But I only knew that because he said that. So I have to remember to do that. Like he's saying, commodity items. Maybe I thought, oh, this is a vintagey hat or whatever. Well, no, it's not. I need to remember that. So he's right. I should probably lower the price on that hat.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing we've always said. I mean, if there is currently a factory, and very often there's factories in China, currently producing the same item that you have in hand that you're trying to put on eBay, it's tough. Because there has to be a good reason that someone wants to buy that one in your hand versus all the ones being spit out of this factory as we speak that are just littered across this country.
That are cheaper.
Yeah, so really it's all about price because it's nothing more important about your thing than anything else other than can you beat someone else on price. And so that's why we love selling, and finding little weird items that either are not being made anymore, or it's some little specialty item that very few do get made.
So the thing about the Ryobi or Ryobi, however you say it, radio. The only thing I can think of is when you say, if the local Home Depot can ship it to you for free, or you pick it up for free at the store, but there might be people who are not close to a Home Depot where Home Depot will not deliver it for free. Your Home Depot in Atlanta is a huge metropolitan area. I'm sure you have lots available there. But if someone's in the middle of a very rural area, they might not have access to it. But the person who's selling it for $65 is giving them access to it. That being said, it can also be said for international shipments. Say someone in Canada is like, I really want this Ryobi radio, and there are no Home Depots in Canada, but this guy on eBay will ship it to me. So there's a different markets that will pay more for things depending on what the item is. So that could be the reason why some of the prices are high on a commodity item. That being said, also with my Zildjian hat, maybe I'm the only one willing to ship this Zildjian hat to other places in the country, in the world, and someone might be willing to pay double the price because I'm going to ship it, global shipping.
Hello, just discovered your podcast and I love it. My name is Deborah and I'm in North Carolina. I do eBay since 2009 and I'm trying to go full time, and I have a couple of questions. When do you go from a regular store to an anchor store or higher? When is the best time to do that? And would like your advice on that. And also, I don't do art normally, but I find a print every now and then or a painting that I want to find out what it is, and it doesn't have any thing on it. So I'm trying to figure out the best source to find out what a print or painting is and who painted it and all the information on it so that I can price it. So if you could help me with those two things, I'd love it. I love your podcast. It gets me through the day. Thank you very much, and I look forward to hearing from you.
Welcome to our little community here. So your questions are good. We all ask these of ourselves. When do you upgrade at your store, or when do you even get a store? Right. And the answer is you just got to do the numbers. You got to see how much you want to pay for the subscription, how many free items, free listings you're going to get with that. How
many do you plan on listing?
Yeah, are you going to be able to do all that? And just so if you just go into Google and you just type eBay store subscriptions, there's a link there and it will show you a breakdown, like in a graph, and then you can, or in a box. Yeah. And then just pick. Do I want to pay, $40 a month for 200 listings? I mean, that's probably not the numbers.
You're just making that up, yeah.
So that's it. And then the other thing is about art. Very often, 99% of art you're going to find out in the world does not have a name that you're ever going to find online. It's just an unknown artist. Yeah. Or it won't have a name at all.
Yeah, it's just generic.
It's generic. But really, you're probably already doing it right. if it has a signature, you just type that name into Google.
If you can read it.
And if that person is famous, then it's going to show up. And if not, then it's not. The good news is we sell a lot of art that does not have a name. People are not buying it because of the name. They're buying it because it's
what it
colorful.
Looks like. Yeah.
It has an elephant, has a kitty cat. There's something about it where you can describe it in search terms that someone's going to search and find.
Yeah.
Hi, name is David in West Haven, Connecticut. I am a brand new reseller. I've been listing a couple items on Facebook Marketplace locally. I'm trying to get into eBay. One thing that's been on my mind is instead of getting the perfect picture of an item, wouldn't it make more sense to take a small 30-second to a minute video? That way you can get 360 view, and it would cut down on the description time. Have you guys tried this? Is this allowed? eBay right now seems like a big complicated monster to me to try and figure out, but listening to your podcast has been a real help. So I thank you so much for that.
I mean, I think it's a great idea. The funny thing is, before Ryan and I ever sold on eBay, we were living in it's New York, and we actually were thinking of starting like a little company where instead of posting photos, it would be a video. So that way, exactly. You could actually see the clothes and
see them on.
See the item.
Actually, before I moved to New York, right when we met, and I was selling a bunch of my stuff, I sold a bunch of vintage clothes on eBay, and I made videos of me modeling the clothes.
Right.
It's really funny. And then we thought of that business idea of basically video eBay.
Right. And then. And actually, we were going to call it. We even had the name is called Hunt and Gather.
Hunt and Gather. Yep.
.com,
we started to build it with a friend, but then we were just like.
Well, and then so basically, the reason why it didn't work is this, or the reason why we stopped doing it was this. It's just if you think about it, if you have 20 items in front of you, and I'm trying to list 20 items, the amount of time it would take to make a video that was somewhat decent.
Yeah.
It would just take so much time, and if the item's only worth $30, it's too much time investment.
Yeah.
People like Steve Schultz, and we do it too. If you have like a $300 item, like a stereo or a blender, we'll make a video of it to show
that it works.
But that's because it's a high dollar item.
Right.
But it's not sustainable to do it for masses of items.
Right.
And
the other thing too is you can. Like we're saying, you can embed a video into eBay. There is a tool through this guy Joshua who does Flipper tools. And if you Google Flipper tools, YouTube embed for eBay, he has a tool that helps you get the correct code for it. That being said, you can't just put a video in, just so you know. You have, eBay requires you to have at least one photo.
Right. eBay would penalize you, and actually, supposedly, they want at least 3 photos.
3 photos,
in their search algorithm.
Yeah.
But again, if you want to do it,
you should do it.
You could do it.
You absolutely should.
I would love to watch them.
Hey, Jay and Ryan, this is Alan from Finnichappie. I just want to call and let you know that I think you're going to have to start using a database and metadata for your photos. What I do, I use Tapforms. It's a database for Apple because the number spreadsheet just doesn't do what this does. So I list right off my database. I have all the, I make a record that has all the information I need to list an item, and then I just copy and paste. And I use inventory numbers. And then on my photos, I use metadata. And if you hit Command-I in iPhoto, it'll bring up the metadata screen, and I tag all my photos with their inventory numbers, their receipt numbers, and a description. That way, when I'm listing things, I can just type in the inventory number, and it comes right, all the photos come right up. So if you use these two things, it's easier to keep track all your stuff. And then in my tap forms database, I just put the location where I put the stuff, and I assign boxes and locations, and then I just, and the database is completely searchable, and so is iPhoto. It's searchable. So you can just put the inventory number, and those photos will come up. Any questions, give me a call.
That's like way too much for me, to be honest.
And honestly, I would never do anything like that. That is Orion, our computer geek
like
here.
The fact that you just explained that to me is like you're basically your own personal Amazon, which is great. That's like too much organization for me. I agree that I should probably be doing whatever you just described to me. I just don't see that happening. That's incredible.
But thanks for the idea. I mean, I love I love when people, and that's the thing, each of us need to find that way to be organized.
We need to be more organized, and that's going to include building a storage building behind our house, because right now we have sheds 10 miles away from our house that we have to drive to.
Yeah, that's a physically being organized.
Exactly. But thanks for calling, and actually I know that there are going to be several other people who probably use a similar system, because we've heard from people who do use like spreadsheet / inventory systems, and it works really well for them. And I have actually learned a lot from those people as to how I want to organize our building when we have it. So please keep giving us those ideas. Okay, that is it for the podcast today. You can check out our blog at scavengerlife.com for the links we discuss and to join the conversation on the forum. You can call and leave us a question or a comment. The phone number is 540-407-8486. We post an episode every Monday morning. On Wednesday, we post a What Sells video that shows what sells on eBay and how much it sold for. You can subscribe to us through iTunes or through YouTube, so you always get the latest episode. You can listen to our other podcast at shampooandbooze.com, and that's where we talk about our vacation rental business. You can also rent our vacation farmhouse. It is the off-season right now, so we have lots of vacancies. And we are ending this podcast in 3, 2, 1.